Spring is a fresh time of year. Come July, the English air tends to become stale and sometimes rancid. Chigwell is a picturesque Essex village. It's maintained much of its Old English character, and it's relatively famous for three reasons. One being it has Charles Dickens' favourite pub, the King's Head, Chigwell Boys' School, and third, for any Americans watching, it's where William Penn, original founder of Pennsylvania, went to school. Right here in Chigwell Boys' School. Find a bush and settle down by the sand. Watch the sun rise. Watch the sun fall. Be on call for nature. So as I say, for any of you Americans watching, this is it. This is where William Penn, founder of Pennsylvania, went to school, Chigwell Boys' School, many moons ago. And it's also where Bill Haley's Comets came back a few times, I believe, to play and rehearse here, because they too were from Pennsylvania. William Penn, the founder of Pennsylvania, was born on Tower Hill, London, on October the 14th, 1644. The house of his father, the Admiral, was on the east side, within a court adjoining to London Wall. Young William grew up in the local area with Samuel Pepys as a neighbour. William was baptised in All Hallows Church and educated in the old schoolroom. The friendship between Pepys and Admiral Penn soured when Pepys tried to seduce Penn's mother and his sister Peggy. William became an early Quaker and an advocate of democracy and religious freedom. He was imprisoned several times in the Tower of London due to his faith, and took his book No Cross, No Crown, published in 1669, which he wrote whilst in prison. It also became a Christian classic. In 1681, King Charles II handed over a large piece of his American land holdings to Penn to pay the debts the king owed to his father, including the present-day Pennsylvania and Delaware. Penn immediately set sail. After the colonists had pledged allegiance to him as their new proprietor, he journeyed up the Delaware River and founded Philadelphia. Penn wrote in favour of a union of all the English colonies in what was to become the United States of America. The democratic principles he set forth in the Pennsylvania frame of government served as an inspiration for the United States Constitution. He also developed a project for a United States of Europe through the creation of a European Assembly. He is therefore considered the very first thinker to suggest the creation of a European Union. In his old age, he fell into difficulties and actually had to mortgage the province of Pennsylvania for £6,600. He died at Beaconsfield, Buckinghamshire, England in 1718.
It's quite an exclusive school even today, you know. I don't know if it's up there with Eton sort of standards, but I don't know, they call it a public school. The name public school actually comes from when they used to be private. So the reason they call it public school is because it's now open to the public, but only if you've got enough money to go there, you know. So that used to be called private school, but very ironically named public schools, which is exclusive schools like Eton and Harrow and Oxford, where you can go if you've got enough money. This is a laurel, I think, just coming into bloom.
The summer heat of Solar. Like a shrub in winter I rested. Though the trees were in bloom I felt weak. Like any organism in labour, it too must rest from its peak. The pleasures of summer are many. The most intense phase of a solar system absorbed. All seasons are beyond our control, welcomely or otherwise endured. You felt your share of that mass of gases. We feel oversensitive touch. Hide intermittently from its forces and learn that we can only penetrate so much. It widens limitation on humans. It raises a field of wheat. Can char and nourish your overexposed cover. Make the most of the summer heat. To other areas of the globe it will focus. On it we all depend. Stay for eternity. Continue cycle. Solar. Our master friend.
Of St Mary's Church in Chigwell, and it's been said that the bones of King Harold lie beneath the floor here somewhere. I'm not sure if there's any truth in that. This goes back years. Stained glass windows, common Anglican churches. I've been in one or two Catholic cathedrals and Catholic churches, and they always seem a little bit drab and a bit dark compared to Church of England Anglican churches. I'm not the most religious person. Michelangelo would be proud of that. over this side is what is known as a ladies' chapel for some reason. Used to be segregated, so the big one is a general chapel, and this is a ladies' chapel, I think, which was the original part of the church. Sort of separate altar. And belfry, all done manually. Got some coats of arms up there in Latin. So one thing they did keep after the Anglo-Saxon conquest was a lot of the Latin names in medicine, scientific names, and also in coat of arms. So some things never change. So that's John Pennington, whoever he was, and there's another Pennington there, laying under there. So the name was obviously popular or common in West Essex, derivatives of Penn. But some of this language I don't really understand because it's written in, I think, Middle English, and Middle English isn't Anglo-Saxon. Anglo-Saxon was an earlier Proto-Germanic language that doesn't exist anymore, and Middle English came after. I mean, if I look at Canterbury Tales, one or two words I can understand, but most of it I can't understand. Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. So that's when we still had British America, obviously. One of the ushers here was just telling me over here there's a vent which goes over to the King's Head pub over the road. There's a vent there. Goes right over the road into the pub when they used to hide priests, I think probably during the Cromwellian crisis. 5 years were under rule by Oliver Cromwell. Beyond stone blocks, all deceased here. Rain trickles in from the road, descending jewels, tears from relatives. All is quiet here. Marble, stone, all covered with the cold Chigwell. So this is the pub I mentioned, Charles Dickens' favourite pub. Actually featured in one of his novels, Barnaby Rudge, I believe. I've never actually read that one, but I must get round to it. So he must have ventured up here sometimes, Dickens. He did go to America. I mean, it must have taken a long time to get to the States in those days. The slow way. Now a Turkish restaurant, I think. The old King's Head. They used to build them quite close to the roads in those days. I mean, remember, there was no motor cars, just horses and carts. So didn't get so grubby with carbon monoxide. Now these were all over the UK, so-called almshouses. This one dates back to 1557. So it's pretty old. It's obviously had a bit of brickwork done on it since then. Almshouses were always, don't know the true history, but they were around stately homes and everything. 1857, that one. It's 1857, and this one, 1858. Rebuilt by subscription. That was before we had the welfare system, I would imagine. So you can see a lot of this is old English sort of property. Similar, I've noticed in America they build using wood, and in those days they did in the UK as well. I suppose it was cheaper and more available. It's, they can't be built on or knocked down. There's grade 3 and grade 2 listed buildings, depends what sort of listed building it is. Up and away in my beautiful balloon.